Yeah. Back again with a little drink, little recap. You know you love it, especially if you were in your teens or your early 20s, in the early 90s like I was. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking that good BMF, Black Mafia Family Series, Season 3, Episode 2, entitled Magic Makers. First of all, I am your humble and most honorable host, Real. This episode is brought to you by that good JD, that Jack Daniels. The Captain Jack will get you high tonight. And Coke, Diet Coke, because I'm old, you know what I'm saying, old school. Cats was fresh about the barber or the salon chair up in this episode. I'm talking Cats was fresh. Everybody was sharp. Stirrer went from a 1987 high top to a 1993 cut in 2 episodes. Homie went from a Scoob and Scrap to a Ill and Al Scratch. He was clean though. Stirrer was clean. Everybody had new dudes. Mama, Nikki, LaWanda. Cats in the A had them fresh cuts. Only person wasn't barber fresh was Charles. Charles still had that 80s TV dad joint, you know. Like your dad or my dad was looking back in them days. Little combed out fro. No particular shape. You know what I'm talking about. Charles said, "F that. I ain't got no time for cuts up in this piece. Trying to save my damn marriage." I don't think Meech had a fresh cut either now that I think about it. But let's start off with Charles. You know, Charles had made some mistakes. You know, like everybody has, trying to do better. He up in the spot, up in his crib, in his castle, you know, fixing some shit up. Got the tool belt on. Charles always got a tool belt on. 2 Latin cats knock on Charles' door. He open it up. They ask for Demetrius. Now he know who they looking for, but he respond like he don't. One cat know he got the right house. He ain't trying to hear Charles' lies at all. He like, "No comprende, Charles. Way at." Start to walk up in that joint. Charles back to hammer out on him. Not the one with the bullets, pistol grip, and safety. No. I'm talking the one with the wooden handle and metal mallet for banging nails. You know, he just happened to have it on him in his tool belt. Charles wasn't playing no games that day. Cooler heads prevail. They piece up out of there. Charles head down to the new restaurant T copped, pissed. Let him know what just happened. Let T know what just happened. Told T 2 amigos came to the house, bringing that heat to his doorstep. He piece up out of there in a huff. This ain't the first time that T and Meech heat done made its way to the house. This ain't the first time. Charles about sick of this shit. What can he do though, right? Eventually makes his way to church with Nikki and Lucille. Look like they up in a bingo hall, having church. Pastor talking that pastor talk. Nikki got a little admirer up in there. Little cat just making eyes at her. Pastor wrap up the sermon. Looking for volunteers to work the prenatal truck. The pre-mobile prenatal clinic. The pre-mobile. Shit is working already. The prenatal mobile clinic. Lucille like, "Charles, I'ma sign us up for it." He like, no. I gotta work, can do it. Now while they discussing what they going and what they not gonna do, extracurricular-wise with the church? Nikki over there with Lil Player, seeing what's what. She on that Mace. She like, why you over there looking at me while my mom's standing here? She like, you always be looking at me. They having that innocent talk. He like, what, you want me to stop? She like, is the sky purple? I ain't say all that, player. You better not stop looking over here. Mom and Pop Flenory see what's happening. Tell her to bring her little hotness on. They piece up out of there. Eventually, Nikki and Lucille make their way down to the prenatal truck to volunteer. Nikki up at the booth trying to poach a box of Tampax. Get caught by Lucille. You know, she catches Nikki and she gets on her. All of a sudden, this cat come over to both of them. Notices Lucille. Turns out they know each other from a long time ago. Old acquaintances. He throwing all kind of compliments Lucille way. Talking about how she's still fine. Don't give a damn if her daughter right there. Husband over yonder. Hell, he didn't even know who Nikki was before he started on his shit. Her and this new acquaintance both lost and caught up in this moment. Nikki looking at her like, what the hell is going on right now? The doctor tells Lucille he's the liaison for the event. Lucille introduces him to Nikki as someone she went to high school with, Dr. Maurice. He goes back to work in other parts of the event, but comes back to Lucille later. Lucille tells him that she's married. He hit her with that, you know, I will never forgive Charles for stealing you away from me. Then in the next breath, he like, let me take you to lunch. No respect for her or her situation. Now that's just in my old ass opinion. Lucille kept it classy though. But make no mistake, she took that number. Charles about to be up out of here. Shit. Later that night, Lucille thinks it's a good idea to have the talk with Nikki. You know, not about what happened down at the prenatal truck. She like, look, I done seen you try to pocket some Tampax. Little players hollering at you in the church. She sensed a disturbance in the force. Go to hit Nikki with that birds and the bees talk. Nikki like, Ma, I understand what you seen, but that don't mean I'm about to be having sex out this piece. And Lil Player was looking at me the same way the good doctor was looking at you, Lil Player. Nikki hit her with that Dr. Dre. Nikki hit her with what's the difference? Left Mama Flenory mouth ajar. She like, what the f***? She couldn't even come back with a response. She like, good night, Nicole. Scampered up out of that joint. Headed back to her room to reflect on today's adventure. Took that ring off like Tony Braxton. Hit that shea butter. Hit that little moisturizing routine. You know how the ladies do it. Having fond recollections of seeing Dr. Feelgood back at the clinic. You know, she having a moment. You know, Mama Flenory having a moment. And why shouldn't she, right? All of a sudden, Charles come up in the room. Now, his presence is about as wanted as a roach on your kitchen counter when the lights come on. She like, what you want, Charles? He like, I came to get my pillow. Standing there extra long. Like, but I could stay if you want. She paying him no mind, thinking he gonna go away on his own. This man done said he wanted the pillow. He gonna get his pillow, he gonna go. She continues to moisturize. He up in there grinning in the background, seeing what the doctor saw. He like, you still look good, baby. She turned around like, you still here? Good night, Charles. Shit, I ain't about to have you f up my good vibes from today. Speaking of somebody else on the outs, T and Markesha up in the new house. T come up in the crib. Markesha got this long list of shit that she wants. He like, I can't afford all of this. I'm gonna have to start selling drugs. Then she hit his ass with that, I don't think we can live together right now. You a bit damn late with this shit here, ain't you? She like, T, we just got shot at. Like, I'm just not feeling the living together part. We can still be together, but just not live together. She like, I'm still married. I got kids to think about. Yeah, there would be some folks talking. So, like, the reality of this shit right here done hit home. T like, okay, he play it kind of cool, but he f***ed up in the game. He piece up out of there. What's T next move? Oh, you already know. Pop up in LaWanda grill. He head over to LaWanda's spot, talking about how he and Markesha done. Talking about how LaWanda the A1 from day one. You the homie. Shit was whack though. I mean, he ain't let that breathe 1 minute. He ain't give it a day or nothing. I ain't mad at it though. I mean, you know, T like to keep him a little boo. I ain't mad at T. Now, LaWanda ain't thrilled at the news, but she ain't hating it either, you know, because that's what she wanted. I mean, she wanted T. She about to have this man's second baby. So now they kicking it again. Hooping crew up in the new restaurant. See the news that their plug Cena got bagged. They in scramble mode now. Talking they gotta whip that batch up extra special so it'll hold a little longer. You know, you got to cut it. T put the word to Meech that the plug got bagged. They both agree that they need to reestablish that connect. I mean, that's a given. Also, at the same time, trying to figure out why cats was at their mama house looking for Meech at the same time this shit with the plug is happening. Like, what the f is going on? They don't know what's happening, but they taking all precautions. Put guards on everybody and everybody home up there in the D. Meech tell T to fly some of them birds down south. They get off the line. Meech get to doing his thing, trying to find out what he can get popping in the A. He talking to Stacks and Duffy, talking about how everybody got bagged, popped. Remember, Dice ass got dropped at their feet last time they went out clubbing. They need to make some adjustments for sure. Stacks like he good for some connects. Meech want to talk to Glock Plug, and that's Meech plan. They get to scheming. Now back up in the D, T and crew trying to find a new plug to no avail. Sterl mentioned he might have found a cat in the suburbs. They like the burbs. Shit is rough right now. Times is tight. This like some last resort shit, but they gonna check it out. They go up in this spot to see a lesbian chick named Henrietta. Henrietta got the clock shades on. I mean, it's a clock on each lens. You know, she got that vibe of a cat that you might find in a Bobby Blue Bland joint on a Sunday night. You know, she got that cool Southern player type vibe. She get into it with a cat she gambling with. Said, that's why I scraped your girl, player. Describe where she live. Describe what her bare ass looked like to a golf course tee. Little tension pop off, they get dude up out of there. T and crew make their way over to chat. Now she already know who BMF is. She like, I like how y'all move. You know, y'all like snakes. That's not a diss. She like, I like it. They go back to discuss some things. T like, what's the price? Hit T with 28 a key. Damn. Now T ain't have no negotiating room. So he eventually agrees. They walk out of there, see K9's old girl Peaches sit down at the card table. Henrietta check her out. She like, oh yeah, I'm a horn dog on them tig old biddies. T and his crew piece up out of there. Henrietta get on her J.O.B. And speaking of pieces, eventually winds up strapped up and putting a 10 to 12 inch piece up in Peaches. 10 to 12 inch dildo. Pleasure before business, I guess. Eventually T and crew catch up with the cats that come to his pop's house. They dissing T and crew. Tell them they only want to talk to Meech. They don't talk to the help. The one cat Loco like, hey, ain't you the one that booms old lady? Talking to T. T like, oh, okay, so you want to talk about that dumb shit. It's a little tense up in that spot. T tells him if you want Meech, go down to the A. They all piece up out of there. Now down in the A, Meech also putting in some work to find some new contacts, you know, some new associates. Him and Greenie up in the Platinum Player spot. Meech tell Greenie his plans on getting at Glock's plug. Greenie tell Meech that ain't a good idea. He like, you in the A, you ain't in the D. Meech see the cat that told him he couldn't come into Glock Club. You know, Glock main man. Greenie send a stripper over to him. Her name is Angel. Now Meech sitting back peeping what's happening. Plotting. Put the word in with another stripper to hook him up with Angel. Threw some cash away. Not for now, but another time outside the club, he would like to have a conversation with Angel. That hookup is established. Meech eventually meets with Angel at a restaurant. Now this is Greenie girl. This is girl. Meech tells her he needs some info, a name specifically. She tells Meech she can't help. Her business is about discretion, so she ain't trying to fuck her rep up there. Tells Meech she can't go back to Greenie with no money. Meech flatters her up. Here's a story, says, let's have a meal. You know, like we here, let's just enjoy our time. They get to talking. She tell Meech Greenie saved her life. Gives a little motivation, a little pep talk, you know. They eat a meal. They get that rap. Meech gets to know Angel a bit. Angel gets to know Meech a bit. Now, no info tonight. At least not the kind of info Meech needed. But a connection was made. Long game was played. Meech wind up back in the Platinum Palace. This cat come up to Angel. I guess she wasn't trying to dance for him. He was about to put hands on her. Meech come in and beat his ass, doing the bouncer's job. I'm like, where the fuck was the bouncers? Where the fuck was Greenie? Appreciating what Meech just did, she tells me she want to dance for him. Hit him off with that lap dance. You know, it's a lap dance, so it's personal. As f. got up on him, got to grind him, whispered in his ear that info he needed, hopped off Pop, and went to go get that money elsewhere. But not without Greenie seeing all this exchange happen first. And it's obvious exchange because as soon as she whispered what she whispered, she got up. And then he and Duffy pieced up out of there. So Greenie don't actually know what this is, but he know he don't like it. From that intel, Meech and Duffy go to an address to meet who they think is the plug, based on this information they just got from Angel. MK's is laying dead on the floor on their arrival. The cat Loco, the one that knocked on Meech's pop's door and dissed T and crew, now stands in front of Meech, looking to work with him. Loco tells him, "You my guy. Cena spoke highly of you. Ty spoke highly of you. I'm Ty's plug. We here for you." All of a sudden, bullets start popping. The other cat that was with him, Javier, come in after all the MKs are taken out, throw some gold grills up on the table. Like he just yanked them out of cats' mouths. Like I know the brothers like them grills. You know, figure the cats we just popped ain't gonna need them no more. Ain't nobody f***ing with them grills. Now Meech hearing this news here, he excited like a schoolboy. He like, y'all came looking for me to be my plug? Oh, shit. He like excited and touched all at the same time. Because, you know, I guess the plug don't come looking for you too often. Unless you owe. Or unless you f***ed up. Meech know he ain't owe. It's a mutual feeling of pleasantries across the board on both sides there. Like they feeling Meech. They happy to see him. And Meech happy to see them. They go and celebrate back up in the Platinum Palace. Meech introduces Stacks to Loco. Went to give Loco some dap. Some high-spirited dap, too. I mean, that bring your hand way back and bring it down dap. Loco looked at Stacks like he had just wiped his without the hand wash. Stacks like, okay, peace up out of there. Find him somewhere else to be up in the club. He didn't feel wanted there. You already know what's coming there. Now Meech see this young girl he know from the D named Tina up in the club. They catch up. You could tell she a good girl of sorts. But I'm like, okay, well what the f she doing up in there? Like you about to hear coming to the stage, Tina. Meech about to see her in a way he didn't know her before. Greenie come up to Meech, tell him drinks is on the house. Appreciate what you did for Angel there, player. You know, they was just wondering where the hell Angel was at. Still don't know where the hell Angel at. But you already know. But you already know. It's going to be some shit over Angel. They don't let that ruin their good night. Meech and Loco want some today was a good day type. They like buddy buddy. Come home with the rising of the sun. Look like it's like 6, 7 in the morning by the time they walking up in the crib. They get in the room. He tell Meech he came over from Cuba on a raft. They bonding, having a moment. Meech sharing some stories with him. Looking like they've been A1s from day one. Looks like this might be a good little relationship. Loco tell Meech they family. I guess it don't get much better than that. At some point after catching up with Loco, Before they went out to the club, Meech called up T, told him they got a plug. T and the crew feeling good about that. They was about to be known for that whackness on the street with Henrietta shit and paying top dollar for it too. They go back to Henrietta's spot. She up in there with a member of her crew. T tell them they won't be doing business with her. They like, hold up, we had a deal. If you want to be technical, they did agree. If you want to be on some bullshit, they ain't shake on it. They didn't piece it out. That was interrupted by the sight of Peaches when she came in on their first meet, who Henrietta is now doing on the regular. Till one time during the little freak session, Henrietta tell Peaches she talked too much, gave up the name of her plug, and now Henrietta in and Peaches is out. Then she pulled the dildo out of Peaches, pulled the strap out, and put one in Peaches' dome. Their business is done. Blew her back out, then blew her brains out. Meanwhile, Bryant trying to figure some shit out for his son. Catch up with his son's mama, let her know what the deal with their boy and that he need money. He can't get a decent job. Lawyers cost an arm and a leg, which they do. She give him a check, but it ain't close to enough. He piece up out of there. Eventually realizes he got to make his way to the dark side, like he wasn't on that bitch already. Makes his way to visit this cat named Blaze, an old associate. Bryant asks Blaze if he's still in the game. You know, this cat is an old player. Asks if he can hook him up with some good lawyers. Tell Blaze he need fast money. They play a little chess. Blaze tell him he gonna see what he can do. Bryant leave up out of there. All of a sudden, Henrietta come from around the corner. Blaze is her father. They have a little back and forth. You know, it ain't a normal father-daughter moment, you know, unless your father a drug kingpin. She thinking he old. His ways of moving is antiquated. Can't wait for him to retire. He thinking she ain't cautious enough. A little reckless out there in them streets, on that new school. He tell her he got someone to put to work in her crew. She tries to object. Wasn't happening. Blaze looked like that cat. Looked like Bryant about to get his hands dirty. Real dirty. Looked like him and BMF gonna meet up again soon too. You know, I don't think Henrietta gonna take that reneging on the deal lightly.